The mainstream media has a horrific sob story for you. In 2022, 150 Palestinian Arabs were killed in the occupied West Bank, which is more violence than the conflict has seen in 2 decades. While it's tragic anytime anyone is killed, we have to ask the question, is the media telling the truth? Well, you might be surprised because the answer is yes and no. Stay tuned. Hey guys, welcome to the Israel Guys, where we believe that in a world of anti-Israel propaganda and Jew hatred, you should have a direct connection to the land and people of Israel. This is our last time coming to you guys from 2022, and as we close out the year, we want to say thank you so much for watching, for subscribing, for commenting, for liking, for sharing, everything you did. We're closing out the year with almost 2 million views, podcast listens, people coming to us online, and we couldn't have done it without every single one of you, so thank you so much. If you have supported the Israel Guys in the past, we also want to say thank you, and we also want to tell you the Israel Guys is part of a nonprofit ministry here in Israel. We're a 501c3 in the United States, but everything we do is totally free. We don't really make money off of the Israel Guys, things like this, except for like a little tiny bit from things like sponsors or AdSense, but we keep our content free because we want as many people as possible to watch it, because we're fighting against the mainstream media that spews out so much propaganda, as you're about to see in today's program. So anyways, all that to say, we're doing a massive end-of-year campaign. We're raising $300,000, not just for the Israel Guys, but also for Hayuvel, our volunteer organization in Israel. We're planting trees. We're helping farmers. We're bringing people in programs to Israel. So check it out. The link is down in the description below, but we only have like a day and a half left because we have to meet our goal by midnight, December 31st. So by the time you're watching it might be only hours left. So if you want to support the Israel Guys at all, help us reach even more people in 2023, right now is the time. Every dollar you give is doubled for twice the impact. Check out the link below. And we just want to say thank you, Josh and I both. We're super excited. We got so many plans we can't even talk about right now, but we're prepared to enter 2023 strong. Lots of new projects, lots more people reached, lots more stories to tell.
That's right, Luke. And once again, thanks, guys. We really appreciate it. But now to get onto the program, what's going on in the world today? If you were to just to Google what's going on right now in Israel, you're going to find that the leftist world, just within the hours now, are posting like horrific lies and just audacious creations of stories, fabrications, telling the story as though they're, I don't know how they live with themselves, telling such farces about the people and nation of Israel. But we're going to get into it here to set the record straight.
Josh, can I read some of the headlines?
Yeah, go ahead.
If you Google this topic, these are the headlines you're going to find, okay? Here's one. Israel. UN experts condemn record year of Israeli violence in the occupied West Bank. Some of these headlines are from the media. Some of them are from UN reports. Here's another one. Israel killed 5 times as many Palestinians in 22 than it killed in the same period in 2021. How about this one? UN envoy reports sharp increase in violence this year in Israel-Palestine conflict. Here's another one. 2022 among deadliest years for Palestinians in West Bank. Middle East Peace Process Coordinator tells Security Council. And lastly, 2022 was deadliest year for West Bank Palestinians in nearly 2 decades. If you don't believe us, check it out for yourself. We got all our source links down below. But guys, if you read this or you see it, I also saw a clip off of CNN. Might be a little surprising. You wouldn't be surprised if you see it from like Al Jazeera or Arab media outlets, but CNN, American news outlet, just reporting headlines like this without any context, without actually telling the rest of the story. The mainstream media, they seem to agree that 2022 was a record year for numbers of Palestinians killed in the West Bank in 2022. Josh is going to get into these details, but I want to tell you just 2 main things that all of the media left out. 2 things. Are you ready? Number 1, every Palestinian Arab that was killed was either a terrorist or a civilian who was killed as the result of a terrorist who was attacking Israel. Okay? Every single person, every single Palestinian Arab killed in 2022, it was as a result of a violent terrorist attacking an Israeli or a Jew. Number 2, there was almost 30 100% innocent Jews who were killed by Palestinian Arabs in 2022. But the media, they just decided to ignore that part of the story.
Well, people don't want to hear about that, Luke, and that's what's really outrageous, because right now, what sells in the media? When you can say that the Palestinians, these poor, pitiful Palestinians, are being killed by this giant, as though the Israel is this aggressive giant that's going in and just smothering out the poor little Palestinian villagers that are just trying to survive. That's the rhetoric, and that's the story they're trying to get you to believe. But what's actually happening on the ground, and that's why we're here to tell you what's actually happening. For instance, Washington Post says 2022 was the deadliest year for West Bank Palestinians in nearly 2 decades. That just posted a few hours ago. So if we go through the article, we will find that it's littered with inaccurate statements. One is, if we just go to the headline of we'll see a big picture there, and the picture is, it's underneath the picture says, relatives mourn the death of Palestinian teenager, we won't say his name, who died of shrapnel wounds amid an Israeli raid. So what are you thinking? You think, oh, they're crying because Israel just came in and shot the boy, right? Well, that's a myth, 100% myth, just made up right there on the Washington Post headline of today, getting more views than anything else out there because people love it. They're eating it up. It's like conflict and Israel bad guy, Palestinian terrorist good guy. Okay, so but they don't mention terrorists. And you don't understand that the 16-year-old is a terrorist. Okay, who is he? Let's find out. And how did he actually die? Well, the fact is he did die. He's a 16-year-old terrorist, and he was on his way to attack IDF soldiers and civilians at Joseph's tomb, okay? There's hundreds and hundreds of Israelis celebrating, worshiping. The military does a big thing once a month to try to bring Israelis to Joseph's tomb. You know anything about the Bible? Joseph is buried in Shechem, in what today the Arabs call Nablus. And the Israelis, the only way they can go inside this town without being killed is a massive military, just convoys and coverage to protect them. So this 16-year-old makes a homemade bomb, and he's going to go throw it at this civilian party and try to kill Israelis. Okay, this is the morning picture you're seeing at the top of the Washington Post now. And what happens? He sets his bomb and he's ready to go for it, and it goes off early and he dies. Thank God he wasn't able to kill Israelis, but that's the actual story that's hidden from you. So a complete myth on the front line today of the Washington Post, and honestly, how can you get away with that? Really, the Washington Post is just putting stuff out there as though it's true, and it's absolutely just a farce. The IDF did not kill him, number one, and number two, he's a full-blown terrorist. 16-year-olds, by the way, guys, can be terrorists, and actually, he's not just like a kind of a terrorist. No, he's a part of the Al-Aqsa Martyrs Brigade. Like, he's actually a part of a terrorist unit he was on a mission. One of his missions, like as a terrorist, you're a part of a gang and you go in and you attack and you try to kill people. And that's what he was doing when he accidentally set off his bomb and killed himself.
Unfortunately, you can be a terrorist when you're only 16 years old.
Yeah.
And he wasn't the only one that was accidentally blew himself up while he was getting ready to attack Israel. There was several instances amongst the 146 that everybody's crying out about that were killed this year. There was multiple instances where a terrorist member had a bomb, was getting ready to attack Israel, and it blew up and killed himself.
And again, that's in the number that supposedly Israel killed.
It's Israel's fault.
Yeah,
it's all Israel's fault.
Look, the other thing that I got to mention here is what is the Al-Aqsa Martyr Brigade? So the 16-year-old is joining an Al-Aqsa Martyrs Brigade, and he's attacking Israel. Who's in charge of that? Who's the connection? Well, the connection is actually no other than the PA, Palestinian Authority, President Mahmoud Abbas. And I really, guys, Luke, I haven't told you about this yet, but this has got to change. We can't keep saying the Palestinian Authority, President Mahmoud Abbas. That sounds too like everybody else. It sounds too official. It sounds like this is a international body. It's a actual accepted government, and they have presidents. No, that's not what it is. So we should quit using the terms that the fakeness of the situation is so grand. We've got to stop using that lingo. And guys, it's nothing more than the Palestinian mafia leader. That's who President Mahmoud Abbas is. He's a Palestinian mafia leader. Why do I say he's a mafia leader? Because the top thing that they do inside of his so-called government is pay people to kill Jews. So if you're a entity that is that's what you do, is you pay people to kill people, guys, you're not a government, you're a mafia. Okay?
Well, he's also he's a dictator, which is another good definition of a mafia leader, because he's been in power for like 14 years, which is however many years past his term limit. Like, he's illegally in power, in charge of the Palestinian municipality government right now, and like you said, he's just a terrorist leader, and he's basically a dictator, and he, suppresses and persecutes his own people. And so that's exactly who he is.
So it's not the PA anymore. It's the PM of the Mahmoud Abbas. And unfortunately, in this world, it's not a parliament member anymore. It's actually a Palestinian mafia leader. Okay, so you guys can remember that, the PM of the Arab mafia. So Palestinian mafia leader. That's what it is. Let's start using that. Let's get the rhetoric right. And this is what's actually going on. And this is who this 16-year-old attached himself to. So what I want to say is that the Washington Post article, if to get this straight, one, they're misleading people 100%, because the IDF did not kill this member of this 16-year-old. He killed himself, and the cover photo is absolutely misleading for sure. This is what they're trying to get, is that they're saying that the IDF did this, and now the family's in mourning. So I rewrote and I have a suggestion for the Washington Post. You ready, Luke? I have a suggestion for the Washington Post that they take this article down and put this up. It should read: Palestinian mafia leader President Mahmoud Abbas in 2022 has had dozens of fellow Arabs killed in order to get a good cover story in the Washington Post. How about that?
It's true.
Literally, that's true. It's true. But the world, of course, they're not going to take it down. Of course, they're not going to say that. But that's the facts.
It is, yeah.
It is true. That's exactly
the real
true.
reason why Arabs in Judea and Samaria are getting killed. I don't want to get into that, but let's address, because all these headlines are talking about nearly 100, the actual number 146 Palestinian Arabs were killed in 2022 in the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, right? So according to the IDF, the vast majority of those killed by the IDF fire, which was not all of them, as you just talked about, because some of them killed themselves by accidentally blowing themselves up. But the vast majority of those killed by the IDF were involved in terrorist activity that posed a direct threat to human life. That should be pretty basic, basic self-defense 101. You try to kill, if you try to kill people, you get killed by the IDF, which are the good guys.
That's kind of basic.
The military, right?
Really basic. Protect yourself.
I want to get into a couple more numbers. Honest Reporting, great right-wing NGO that calls out the media for their biased propaganda, especially when it comes to Israel. Their research team found that at least 60% of these numbers were shot as they attacked civilians or security forces with guns, explosive, Molotov cocktails, knives, rocks, and cars, like car rammings. An additional 29% died during violent raids. In other words, we're talking about at least 90% that were killed either attacking Israelis or Jews, or while they were right in the middle of people that were attacking Israelis and Jews.
Right.
Nearly half of those killed were known members of public terrorist organizations like Hamas, Islamic Jihad, and the Al-Aqsa Martyrs Brigades.
Yeah. So Luke, I'm also thinking
publicly branded terrorist organizations. At least half of them were members, known members.
So we have this 16-year-old. They're trying to say they just killed a 16-year-old in cold blood, right? That's what the media is trying to get. But then there's also this just last week, there was the whole media is trying to say there's this soccer player. Everybody's heard about it because it's all over the news. Israel kills a soccer player. Well, guess what? He's a member of Hamas.
You can be a soccer player and a member of Hamas at the same time. Why not?
But, and just so happened that the media forgot to tell everybody he was a member of Hamas and was buried with a Hamas flag.
Sorry, we just forgot to mention that.
Just forgot to tell you that. And he's also in the act of going to shoot Israelis when he's killed, right? Like he's a terrorist
by night, soccer player by day.
Yeah, it's a nice cover-up, but guys, unfortunately, it's just not true. It's not true what they're telling you out there. So this is what I really got to say. It's really unfortunate that the world has it all backwards, that they're counting fallen terrorists as their deaths were some great loss to the world and the world's freedom. Is that backwards or what, guys? The world is mourning the loss of terrorists. Okay, you got to get this. You got to understand what they're doing. The Washington Post is as evil can be, is telling you, and they're backing up and mourning the loss on the front page today. They're mourning the loss of a terrorist that's trying to kill Jews. that killed himself on accident trying to kill Jews. That's one of the stories. He goes through a whole bunch of other ones, and they're also just terrorists. They're backing the terrorist. So as we get the end of 2022 here, and we're looking back, I'm thinking we should actually reverse this. That is nonsense, and that is nuts, and it's unacceptable, and it's crazy. Our world is in a crazy state. Most of you know that by now, and this is just one of the crazy things that's going on in the world. But we should look instead and say, thank God that Israel's strong, and Israel was able to take out, this is really what the headline should be, Israel and its strength was able to take out 126 of his most hostile enemies. What if the headline read that? Really? What if the headline said, Israel was able, thanks to God and the strength of its military, were able to take out 126 evil terrorists that were poised to kill their people? Wouldn't that be amazing? That would actually be speaking the truth, and that would actually be fighting a war that we all are happy that Israel's fighting. Listen, these terrorists are not just bent on killing Israel. They're bent on killing a free world. They're bent on killing Americans, anybody Western. And they say that themselves. I'm not making that up. That's just common knowledge. So when Israel strikes at the heart of the enemy's camp and takes out 146 of the deepest, most evil members of the terror organizations, and the world bemoans it and hates Israel for it, guys, this is nuts. We've got to wake up and say, no, go Israel, be strong. And in 2023, may you take out a lot more evil from this world. That's what we've got to hope for. And guys, we can hope that the evil changes its mind. That's great. That's also an option. Let's hope that these 16-year-old terrorists stop wanting to be terrorists, and that the mafia leader stops leading teenagers into these mafia camps to go kill Jews. Now, that's the real evil going on here, is that we've got leaders, mafia leaders all over the Arab world that are training children to go and fight and kill Israelis. And of course, we're not just going to sit back and watch 16-year-olds go kill Israelis. No, we're not. Israel's not going to allow that. They're going to stop that in its tracks, and 16-year-olds will die if they're trying to kill Israelis. That's just the fact of the matter. So let's flip this around as we're getting into 2022, and we need to say no to terrorism and yes to a strong Israel. Guys, here's the unfortunate reality. Unfortunately, Israel is unable to take out all the evil, all the terrorists. And this is the way you need to see it. Israel was unable to take out all the terrorists. And because of that fact, because Israel was not strong enough in the weakness, terrorists penetrated. Terrorists killed 29 Israelis. These are civilians and soldiers. They killed 29. That's in such an evil terrorist, only as a terrorist could imagine, going and killing innocent people. This is what happened. And in God's will, in 2023, as we enter it in, let's pray for a strong Israel, and an Israel that has no toleration for evil, terrorism, for people that teach 16-year-olds to go kill Jews. May Israel just completely take that out. May that never happen again in Israel, and may this evil regime of terrorism be stopped. And for me as one, Luke is two, and hopefully a million of you watching out there can say, go Israel, go, be strong, and take out these terror nests. It's got to end now.
And I have a suggestion for the media. Instead of touting in mainstream media headlines, and the United Nations, by the way, instead of touting 146 Palestinians that were killed by Israel, the reason they were killed is because people were attacking Israel, how about maybe instead talking about the 29 totally innocent Jews, innocent Israelis that were murdered simply because they're a Jew living in the land of Israel? I want to make sure this is super, super clear as we wrap up, okay? Let's paint a couple different scenarios here. When Palestinian Arabs are killed by Israel, they always, and I mean always, fit into one of these categories. They're terrorists. They are people trying to commit violence against Israel. And if they are innocent civilians, they're caught in the crossfire of Palestinian Arabs who are committing violence against Israel.
It's called being at the wrong place at the wrong time. As if you're a journalist in a scene of fire going nuts, Luke, and you get shot, that's really your problem. You should not be sitting in front of a terrorist group while the IDF is taking them out.
And innocent Palestinian Arab civilians if there's a child killed, whoever it is, it's because their own people are
true.
committing acts of violence against Israel and the Jewish people. And like you talked about, their mafia leader, Mahmoud Abbas. Now, when Israelis or Jews are killed by Palestinian Arabs, they are always civilians who are deliberately targeted by Arabs who set out to murder them, or IDF soldiers who are attacked by terrorists. Okay? Always innocent, always because they were attacked. And they're simply murdered for being a Jew in the land of Israel. Now, these scenarios don't ever happen, okay? Palestinian Arab soldiers die while defending themselves from Israeli civilians who set out to attack them. No. Never happens. Palestinian Arab civilians die when IDF soldiers attack them. Never happens. Israelis are killed while attacking Palestinians. Never happens. These things don't happen. Get it clear, folks. Get it out there in the media. Get it out there on social media. Let's correct the mainstream media. Now, you know what would stop people from dying? Arabs stop trying to murder and attack Jews and Israelis. Guess what? Palestinian Arabs stop dying. That's as simple as that. If they stop trying to kill Jews and Israelis, they'll stop being killed. They will stop. There will literally be no more. There will be no Palestinian Arabs killed in 2023 if they stop trying to murder Jews. That is a simple fact. Now, guess what? If the IDF just goes away in 2023,
just back off and say no more.
How many Israelis and Jews do you think will die?
Shoot.
It'd be in the thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands. It'll be another Holocaust. That's a simple fact, and it's 100% true. Guys, share this. Let's get this message out. The world has to know, because the mainstream media is wrong. You guys know it. We all know it. This is the truth. We're going against the tide, but that's what we're here for. That's why we do what we do here at the Israel Guys, and why you guys are watching. And you can help us by sharing, going and following us on social media, whatever you have to do. Just remember, as we close out 2022, we get ready for 2023. Let's have a resolution. How about a New Year's resolution? Don't believe the media when they report on Israel, okay? Go look it up for yourself and spread the truth that we're trying to get out there. We're on location here in the heartland of Israel, and we're just simply bringing you guys the truth of what we see with our own eyes, okay? And remember, when Palestinian Arabs are killed in Judea and Samaria, 100% of the time, it's because they or their people were trying to kill Jews, period, end of story. Guys, remember, if you appreciate the work of the Israel Guys, please consider donating to our end-of-year fundraising campaign. Click that link down below. It's our massive end-of-year campaign. We have to reach our goal by midnight, December 31st, and time is running out. I got one more resolution for 2023. Guys, if you've never done it, but you've watched multiple of our videos, or if this is your first one, hit subscribe, hit that notification bell, and get that conversation going. Let us know if you're a new subscriber. Let us know what you think. Hit that share button. We'd love to have you with us on the journey as we go into 2023. Remember to tune out the fake news and tune into what is actually happening here in the land of Israel. We're here every single week with your direct connection to the land and people of Israel.